Hello everyone, good afternoon. This is Priyanka from Aussizz Group. This is Conclave 2024 4.0. This is our fourth series. I'll introduce today's panel session experts. We have today Hardik Patel. He is a registered migration agent and a director of a Parameta branch. Now another agent is Srishti. She is an education guru with 3 years of experience. We have another migration expert, Dipen Prajapati, qualified migration agent as Aussizz Group Brisbane, and another migration expert is Girish Patel, who is highly experienced registered migration agent and also a director of our Clayton branch. Let's get started. Srishti, please take over the session, please.
Thank you, Priyanka. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this exciting conclave. It's wonderful to see everyone joining us today. Let me start with a question. Did you know that every time you use your smartphone, stream a movie, or even order food online, you are benefiting from the marvelous of information technology? In today's world, IT is not just a sector. It's the backbone of almost every industry. Fields like artificial intelligence and cybersecurity are transforming how we live and work, creating vast opportunities for those who specialize in these areas. And here in Australia, the opportunities in IT are expanding faster than ever before. Let's dive into why pursuing an IT course can be one of the best decisions you will ever make. So in Australia, IT is not just a growing field, it's booming. Out of 10 jobs expected to grow the most in the near future, 2 are in IT. Between 2021 and 26, job projections show a remarkable increase in various IT roles. 40% more jobs for database administrators and ICT security specialists. 27 more jobs for software and application programmers, including roles like analyst programmers, developer programmers, software engineers, followed by 22% more jobs for computer network professionals, moving to 13% more jobs for ICT business and system analyst. And that doesn't end here, 44 more jobs for ICT support and test engineers. These statistics highlight the immense potential for growth and career stability in the IT sector. Moving to the next slide, why should we study IT? There is high demand for IT professionals. Let's break down it in some compelling insights. Let's start with global connectivity. Imagine a world without the internet. Hard to believe, right? Today, global connectivity allows us to connect, share information, and work together regardless of geographical boundaries. For example, during pandemic era, this remote working system is quite famous now, right? Let's move to next point, that is digital transformation. Companies today must adapt quickly to stay competitive. This is where digital transformation comes into play. Consider how retail giants like Amazon use advanced IT systems to manage everything from inventory to customer service. By understanding IT, organizations can leverage technology effectively to meet evolving market demands. The newest field, that is artificial intelligence, AI is no longer a science fiction. It is a reality that's transforming industries. For instance, AI-powered recommendation system on platforms like Netflix and Amazon enhance user experience by suggesting content based on past behavior. Let's move forward to future growth. As technology continues to evolve rapidly, the demand for skilled IT professionals is only going to grow. By studying IT, you position yourself for a long-term career growth and stay relevant in an increasingly digital world. IT is not just a career choice now. It's a future-proof pathway that offers endless opportunities, whether it's connecting the world, transforming businesses, or safeguarding data. The IT field is at the forefront of innovation. Let's move to some IT-related courses. So when we explore the educational pathways available to us in the field of IT in Australia, let's start with Diploma in IT. Many students begin their journey with diploma, which lasts for 1.5 to 2 years. This program provides a solid foundation in IT. Whosoever doesn't have any background in IT, this is a perfect course for them. The diploma is offered by ACU, Victoria University, Macquarie University, and Victorian Institute of Education. After completing a diploma, students often pursue a bachelor degree. Here are two popular options. One is Bachelor's of Business Information System, which is a 3 to 4 years of program, and which is offered by the University of Queensland, Curtin University, Griffith University, etc. The second one is Bachelor's of Information Technology, which again is 3 to 4 years, and it is offered by Australian National University, University of Melbourne, University of Sydney. These programs offer comprehensive knowledge and skills in IT, preparing you for a range of career opportunities. Next, moving to the master degrees, there are three types of master degrees. One is Masters of IT, which is a 2-year program offered by Monash University, University of Queensland, University of Technology, Sydney. The second one is Masters of Business Information System, again a 2 years of program. Institution providing are Monash University, University of Technology, Queensland, and Macquarie. Last but not the least, Master of Data Science, again 2-year program provided by University of New South Wales, Australian National Universities. These universities also provide some scholarship, which we will be discussing on day 5. So don't forget to join the session then as well. In conclusion, pursuing an IT course in Australia is a gateway to world of opportunities. With the right education skills, especially in high demand, like nowadays AI, cybersecurity, you can enjoy a rewarding career with handsome salaries. Thank you for your attention. I'm excited to see the incredible journey you all will embark in the world of IT. Now let me pass the baton to our esteemed MARA agent, Mr. Hardik Patel, who will guide you through the next steps for your migration journey.
Thank you very much, Srishti. Hi, everyone. I'll be guiding you through the options to get a PR through the skilled visa pathway in IT occupations. And along with that, I'll have my colleagues, Mr. Dipen Prajapati and our senior migration agent, Mr. Girish Patel, with us, who will be guiding you with the other options as well towards PR through skilled visa pathway. Now, moving towards PR, there are two pathways to get a PR. One is employer-sponsored visa. The other one is skilled visa pathway. We will be covering skilled visa options today in our current session. We do have the employer-sponsored visa session as well between 4 to 5. So next, after this session, you can definitely join us and then get the further details about the employer-sponsored visa, which is subclass 482, subclass 186 visa, the 407 training visa, and the 494 regional employer-sponsored visa. Now, moving towards the skill visa pathway, which are subclass 189, skill independent visa, 190 state nomination program, and the 491 regional skill visa. To be eligible to apply for any of these skill visa pathways, there are 3 stages that we have to go through. Stage 1, we should have valid skills assessment. Stage 2, we should meet the points requirement. Minimum criteria is to meet the 65 points required. And then we can proceed with an EOI and then meet the visa and the state nomination process. Now, stage 1, the most initial part, without skill assessment, we won't be able to go ahead with the further process to get the skill visa. So for IT occupations, there are 3 pathways to get a skills assessment. The assessment authority is Australian Computer Society in Australia, who usually assess the IT occupations. And there are a few other options as well. There are occupations which are relevant to trade occupations where we can go through the assessment authority, TRA, and also some IT management occupations being assessed by the VET-assess as well. Now, to get the skill assessment through the Australian Computer Society, there are 3 different pathways. Number 1, post-Australian qualification pathway. So if you are having Australian qualification, let's say a bachelor's degree or a master's qualification, the ACS required to complete the professional year program, which is certification course that you can complete while you are on temporary work visa, that you can do after completing your course while you apply for temporary work visa. The professional year program is 10 months course where you have 7 months of coursework and 3 months of internship. Once you complete that, you'll get the certificate. Based on that, you can apply for the ACS assessment for your IT degree. The other option, you can apply for skill assessment with the experience as well. So if you have 1 year of minimum experience in Australia post qualification, Australian degree, you can apply for the assessment through post Australian study pathway. That's the based on post Australian study pathway. Other pathway, number 2, general skills pathway. So let's say, for example, if you have overseas qualification anywhere outside Australia, and if you would like to apply for the skills assessment, then it depends whether your qualification is major in IT or a minor in IT or non-relevant to IT field. So let's say, for example, if you have bachelor's in computer science, information technology, or let's say computer engineering, you can apply with the minimum 2 years experience that you should have after completing your course, or let's say 4 years within last any time of the past period of your employment. Apart from that, if your qualification is, let's say, minor in IT field, you should have around 4 years experience in IT field. If it is not relevant to closely IT field, you can still apply for the assessment using 5 to 6 years experience in IT occupations. The third pathway that we have, it's RPL, recognized prior learning pathway. To be eligible to apply for the skills assessment through RPL pathway, does not matter whether you have relevant qualification or not. You can still apply if you have minimum 6 years of experience in IT occupations. However, the experience has to be most recent, and you need to provide minimum 2 projects that you completed during your during your experience within last 5 years. One of the project has to be within last 3 years, and the other one has to be within last 5 years of period. So these are the 3 skills assessment pathway with ACS. Moving forward, next slide, please. Next slide, please. So as we discussed 3 stages, number 1, skills assessment. Let's assume that we met the requirement. We applied for the skill assessment. You have a positive skill assessment from ACS. The second part that we have to meet is the points criteria. Now, the currently point system where you get awarded with the points based on your age, your qualification, your experience. So in details, when we discuss about the points, if your age is between 18 to 24, you get 25 points. Between 25 to 32, you get 30 points. If it is between 33 to 39, you get 25 points. And if it is 40 to 44, you get 15 points. Qualification, if it is bachelor's or master's, you get 15 points. Diploma, you are getting 10 points. And if it is PhD level of qualification, you are getting 20 points. If you have completed 2 years of study in Australia, you are getting 5 points. And on top of that, if you have completed 2 years of study by living and studying in regional Australia, you get additional 5 points for the Australian study. Apart from that, people who are single, they are getting 10 points being single. However, if you are married and if your partner is skilled, so if your partner has, let's say, 6 in each competent English in IELTS or similar in any other English test format, you get 5 points. If your partner is having skills assessment along with English, you get total 10 points. Apart from that, as a primary applicant, if you have proficient English, which is 7 in each, you are getting 10 points. Superior English, you are getting 20 points, which is 8 in each in IELTS or similar in any other English test format. Apart from that, if you are having skilled employment in Australia, if you are having 1 year of experience in your field in Australia, you are getting 5 points. Then 3 years, 10 points, 5 years, 15 points, and 8 years, 20 points. In IT, if you're, let's say, studying a professional year program, which is definitely going to help you with the skills assessment. Apart from that, the another benefit that you're getting is you can claim 5 points towards the Australian point system as well. In terms of overseas degree or let's say overseas experience, if you have minimum 3 years experience, you are able to claim 5 points from overseas experience. If you have, let's say, 5 years experience, you can get 10 points. And if you have 8 years experience, you can claim 15 points from the experience from outside Australia. Apart from that, if you have studied in Australia, Masters by Research in STEM qualification, which is Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. So if you complete Masters by Research in STEM, you can get 10 points additional. If you meet any state government requirement, you are getting 5 points under 190 state nomination process, and under 491 regional sponsorship visa, you are getting 15 points. Apart from that, if you clear a NATI language exam, you can get additional 5 points from NATI. And the last option is 491 family sponsor visa. So if your occupation is in medium and long-term lease, so there are 3 occupation lease, right? Medium and long-term, short-term, and regional. So if your occupation is medium and long-term lease, you can claim 15 points under the 491 family sponsor visa category. Now, how this process works. So let's say you have a positive skill assessment in your IT occupation, and you have, let's say, met the requirement of 65 points. Now, there are different categories as we discussed, right? 189, 190, 491, and the 491 family sponsor visa. Talking about 189, 189 is direct PR. You are getting invited from the immigration directly. So to be eligible to apply for 189, you should have valid skills assessment and minimum 65 points. Your occupation has to be in medium and long-term list. But once you meet all these criteria, you can apply for an EOI, expression of interest. And then you have to wait for the invitation. While you're waiting, you can definitely try to increase your points. Now, there is no specific date for the 189 when they conduct the round. However, whenever they conduct the round, they invite people based on ranking. So anyone with the higher points will get the chance. So definitely, if you are going to try to increase your points by superior English, NATI, experience, you can increase your chances to get 189 invitation. Apart from that, for 190 and the 491, they are state and regional sponsored visa. So once you have minimum 60 points, you can get 5 points from state government, as we discussed in the point system, and you can make it 65. Or let's say if you have 50 points by yourself, you are getting 15 points from the regional government, and you can make it 65, right? So once you have minimum 65 points to be eligible to apply for a 190 or 491 EOI, we can proceed further. So you can lodge an EOI, expression of interest. However, the most important part here is to meet the state government's requirement. In Australia, each and every state has their own criteria, different requirements. So if you meet the requirements, you can apply for state nomination, and then state government will go through your documents. They will see whether you have met the requirement or not. If yes, you will be able to get your invitation. Once you receive your invitation, you can lodge your visa. If it is 190 visa, that's also a PR similar to 189 with an obligation that you must stay 2 years in the state who is sponsoring you. And if it is 491, then it's a regional visa. So you are getting 5 years visa after meeting all the requirement. Now, 491 visa comes with a condition as well, as it is a regional visa. So there are requirement that you must live and work in regional area for 3 years. Work can be in any field. Once you meet these 3 years of employment and the residence requirement in regional area, you can apply for a 191 visa, which is a second stage of 491, and that's your final PR. Once that visa is granted, you can move wherever you want. The last category is 491 family sponsor visa. So if you have a blood relative, or let's say first relative, first cousins who are permanent resident or citizen in Australia, who are living in regional area, they can also help you with 15 points. So if your occupation is medium and long-term list, you can apply for an EOI, and then you have to wait for the invitation, similar to 189 invitation round. So whenever they conduct the round, they invite people based on ranking. If you are invited, you can lodge a visa. Once your visa is granted, it will be 5 years visa with the condition that you must live and work 3 years in the regional area. It can be any region, not specific region. So you can be in any regional area. After 3 years of period, you can apply for a 191 visa, which is a final PR. Then after that, you can move wherever you want. So we discussed about 3 stages, which is your skills assessment, points, and the visa process. Now, as we discussed for the 190 and the 491 visa, which are relevant to state and regional sponsorship, we have to rely on state or regional government. So we will discuss now in details about the state and regional government requirement, talking about the NSW state. Now, in NSW, there are different options, 190 and 491 nomination. NSW state is currently open. There are few seats left for NSW state. So we are expecting there might be a small round in this week, if possible. And if there are some seats left with the NSW state government. And now for the 190 visa, the requirement is that if you're living in Australia, then you must be residing in NSW for last 6 months. Then you can apply for an EOI and then wait for the invitation round. Usually NSW state invites every month. However, in this financial year, current financial year, they have been prioritizing the occupations which are relevant to health, education, ICT, infrastructure, agriculture. Now, when it comes to invitations, currently NSW state is inviting people based on points, English, and experience. They look at your points, they look at your English, and also experience as well. In IT occupations for NSW state in 190 visa, we have seen invitations. They have been inviting people every month. The invitations are fluctuating around 85 to 95 points. However, as per the current round and current invitations, they have invited people who are having at least 2 to 3 years of experience compared to somebody who is not having any experience, standing at 90 to 95 points. Now, for 190 visa, for the offshore candidates, so the requirement is that you must be living offshore since last 6 months. So for example, let's say somebody is in Australia and they are moving permanently, or let's say they are going offshore for some time, then you must be living offshore for minimum 6 months, then we can apply for an EUI. And then again, they have the same criteria for the invitation. They prioritize people based on points, experience, and English. Talking about 491 visa, there are two pathways for the onshore applicants. Pathway 1, which is most prominent. So if you are living in Australia, then you must be living and working for minimum 6 months. Work has to be in your nominated occupation, and you must be earning minimum 70,000 per annum on or pro rata basis. If you meet this requirement, you can be eligible to apply for a Pathway 1 491 nomination. For Pathway 2, invitations are based on ranking, similar to one nice invitation round. We haven't seen much invitations under Pathway 2 so far in this financial year. It depends. It seems like we are expecting there are 150 to 200 seats are left as of now for this financial year, so they may conduct the round in this week. For offshore candidates, you must be living offshore at least since last 6 months. Then we can apply for an EUI, and then the invitations are based on ranking. Now moving to other state, which is Australian ACT, Australian Capital Territory. Now when it comes to ACT, for the 190 nomination, there are three different options. One is if your occupation is there in the list, and if you're living there, you can be eligible. Or let's say if you are a small business owner in ACT, you can be eligible. And the other option is for the offshore candidates. So for 190 visa, you must be living and working in ACT for minimum 26 weeks. Work has to be at least 30 hours per week. Once you meet this requirement, we can apply for an EUI. Now, ACT has their own point system, which is known as a matrix point system. So we can apply for an EUI under matrix point system. And then every month when they conduct the round, they invite people based on ranking in the ACT matrix point system. Similar to 491 as well. If you are living and working in ACT for minimum 13 weeks, and your work is at least 15 hours per week, you can apply for a matrix EUI. Ranking is based on point system. Looking at current scenario for ACT, we have seen invitations to fluctuate around 90 to 150 points. So basically 90 to 100 points, 110 points for 491, and around 100 to 130 points for the 190 nomination in the matrix point system. Moving towards the other category, which is small business owner. So for 190 visa, the requirement is that you must operate a business for minimum 6 months in ACT. And the business you can open up in partnership as well. However, you must be 51% of the business owner. You must pay $26,000 of salary to yourself from your business. You must have minimum one employee who is working for you, who is Australian citizen or a permanent resident. Your business must be a profitable business. And then you can apply for an EUI, which is matrix EUI. Invitations are based on ranking in the matrix point system. In a 491, pretty much similar requirement. So in a small business owner category, you must be operating your business for minimum 3 months, and you must pay 13,000 salary to yourself from your business. You must have one employee working for you who is permanent resident or a citizen. Business must be profitable. Invitations are based on ranking in the matrix point system. Apart from that, last category is for offshore candidates. So people who are offshore can apply for the ACT matrix EUI as well. However, you must have your occupation in the ACT critical occupation list. So that's the ACT's occupation list. So you must have your occupation in the list. If you have your occupation in the list, you can apply for a matrix EUI and then wait for the invitation. They have ranking based on points. Similar to 491, if you have your occupation in the critical list, if you are offshore, you can apply for matrix EUI and then wait for the invitation round. Every month when they have the round, they will conduct the round and they rank people based on points. Apart from this, ACT has one more option as well. If you are a PhD graduate, so if you have completed a research degree from ACT institutes, so let's say there are two universities in ACT, right? Let's say Australian National University and the University of Canberra. So if you have lived and completed the PhD degree from ACT, as soon as you complete your degree, if you are living and if you have completed minimum 12 months of residence in ACT, it can be doing the study as well. You can apply for the direct pathway. So you can apply for an EUI directly in the matrix system. There is no point system. However, you don't get awarded with the points. You can directly apply and then you may get selected within 7 days of period. Even let's say, for example, if you have lived and studied, or let's say if you have completed your PhD based on let's say ACT institution while you are living in any other states at the moment within last 2 years of period, you can still apply for the matrix EUI under PhD pathway and you may get selected within 7 days of period. Now, these are the details about the NSW and ACT. Moving forward with other states, I'll have my colleague, Mr. Dipen, to take it forward.
Thank you very much, Hardik, for this brief overview about the state nomination program. So, guys, I will be discussing about Northern Territory, Queensland, and Western Australia state nomination program. So, let's start with the Northern Territory first. So, Northern Territory is one of the far north state in Australia, and it's quite a popular destination for the tourists. But when it comes to the terms of getting permanent residency, the options are very limited in IT sector. First of all, considering the quota they receive is very small number of quota compared to any other state in Australia. So if you are living in Northern Territory and wants to apply for a state nomination program from Northern Territory, there are mainly two categories available. First one is a Northern Territory graduate, and the second category is if you are living and working in Northern Territory. So if you are a Northern Territory graduate who has completed minimum 2 years of study from NT-based institute, and only thing you required is having a minimum points requirement of 65 points and a skill assessment, and you just need to prove that you have a genuine effort. You have done the genuine efforts to find an employment in your nominated or closely related occupations. Now, how to prove that you have genuine efforts? You have put genuine efforts to find an employment. So that can be done through various kind of job application. You have applied for that for your role. That can be possible, and NT state government can assess your application under the graduates category. If you are not a graduates of NT and if you have moved from any other state, don't worry, you have an options available. If you have been living in NT for 12 months after moving there, and you need to work for minimum 6 months prior to lodging your expression of interest. Now, for that 6 months of experience, it can be in your nominated occupation, as well as if you're working in any critical sector occupation, such as a health, aged care, disabled care, or even education related, or even hospitality related sectors, you may be eligible to get an invitation for either 190 or 491, depending upon the case by case, as there is a provision to invite people who are not even working in their non-nominated occupations. However, there are certain rules and restrictions apply if you are applying under the second category of a non-NT resident. The employer you are working, they must have a physical office. They do their service offices or working from apartments or those kind of setup will not work for the will not meet the employment requirement. Additionally, they have been operating their business for minimum 12 months before they provide you an opportunity to work with them. So these two are the main categories in Northern Territory. And as I mentioned, that very small number of quota they receive. So you have to be very competitive in your applications. Try to get maximum points if you're applying from NT. Now, moving forward to next state, which is a Queensland state. Now, Queensland has been a major IT hub for the students who recently applied for the permanent residency. And in Queensland, there are permanent residency options available through three main categories. So what are the three main categories available? First one is a graduate. So if you are a graduate of bachelor's, master's, or PhD students, you can apply under this category. If you are moving from interstate or if you're working in Queensland, if you are Queensland resident, you can still apply. And there is another category called small business owner, which is one of the most popular pathway to achieve a residency through Queensland state nomination. I will be discussing about more in detail in one by one category in my next slide. So let's move on to the graduates category. So if you have completed either PhD, bachelor's degree or master's degree from any Queensland-based institute, you will be eligible to apply under a graduate stream. However, the condition is you must have completed your 100% study from Queensland-based institute. So for example, if you were initially started your study in any other place in Australia and then you got a credit exemptions and you moved to Queensland, in those scenarios, you won't be eligible to apply under graduate category. You have to apply through the working category. Now for the graduates, if you are a PhD graduate, the simple requirement is you must have a minimum 70 points skill assessment and you can directly apply your expression of interest. No job offer letter is required or no employment is required for the PhD students. If you have completed master's degree in a STEM, so IT is considered under the STEM category. So if you have completed Master of IT study in a Queensland-based institute, all you need is a minimum 30 hours per week employment in your nominated occupation or a closely related occupation. There is no minimum time frame required like 3 months or 6 months. Even if you have a 1 week or 2 weeks of employment, you are eligible to apply through the STEM category if you have completed a master's. What if your qualification is a bachelor's degree or if it is a non-STEM qualification, but it's related to IT? So for them, there is a 491 and 190 pathway is available. However, for that, you must have a minimum 6 GPA in your academics. If your GPA is 6 or above, this pathway is available for you. And also, the requirement is pretty straightforward. No minimum employment required, only 30 hours per week. That's considered a full-time employment in Queensland. And you can work in any occupation, which is skill level 1 occupation, or in your nominated occupations. In this financial year, we have seen majority of the invitation for IT graduates were issued under the graduates category. So I would definitely recommend you graduates to apply under this category if you are studying in IT. If your qualification in a non-STEM, try to achieve 6 GPA, because that is something where a lot of students are missing, though if they have a job, but they could not satisfy the requirement of having a GPA of 6 point or above. Moving to the next category in Queensland, which is a working in Queensland category. This is one of the most common and popular category in Queensland for IT graduates. Mainly two subclasses available for working category, which is 190 and 491 subclass. To apply for 190, the simple requirement is having 75 points. And for 491, you must have a minimum 65 points. Now, these points are including the 5 and 15 points from the state government. However, as I mentioned earlier, that the competition is very high in all point-based visas. So 75 points or 65 points only makes you eligible to apply for the expression of interest, but that will not help you to secure a nomination from the state government. So recommendation is to increase point maximum, whatever you can do from your side, and then apply your expression of interest. Now, if you're working in a city area or even in a regional area of Queensland, if you want to apply for 190 subclass, you only need a 3 months of full-time job, which is 30 hours per week, and you must have a minimum 12 months of job offer letter in a same occupation with the same employer. And if you're working in a regional area only, there is no minimum of 3 months or 6 months of work experience requirement, even if you have 1 month of job in a regional area. And if you have a 6 month of further job offer letter from your employer, you are eligible to apply for the state nomination. We have received a few invitations. There is a small number, I would say, not a significant number for IT graduates in this financial year. In Queensland, mostly graduates were invited, as I mentioned, but we have received a few invitations in the working category as well. But those points were 95 or above in recent financial year. So again, competitive Queensland state is very competitive in terms of IT occupations. The easiest option in Queensland for IT or even for any other occupation is to go with the small business owner category. Very simple and very efficient way to achieve your visa in Queensland through Queensland state nomination. All you required is meeting the minimum criteria of having a 65 points and a skill assessment in your nominated or even any occupation is fine. You just need to buy an existing business from a regional Queensland area, which is 2 years of old business, and you need to pay at least 100,000 Australian dollar amount to purchase that business. If you want to start your own business, you can do that as well. But for that, you have to wait for 2 years and you have to have minimum $200,000 of turnover. Plus, your business must be in profit before you apply your expression of interest. Now, as in ACT, we have seen that the partnership for acceptable, but in Queensland, there is no partnership. You must be 100% owner of your business. If you have a joint venture or a partnership, you may not meet the criteria for the small business owner category. Once you purchase the business, there are two main requirements. Being a business owner, that you have to operate the business for minimum 6 months. Now, when I say 6 months, it's not 6 months, it's 2 full quarters. So for example, let's say if you purchase your business in month of June, so your 6 months will start from 1st of July onwards, and that will finish on 31st of December. But someone, let's say if you have started trading your business in between the quarter, for example, in August, then you have to wait until your first quarter finish and you have to complete 2 full quarter. Then only you will be eligible to apply for the expression of interest. In the past, we have seen a lot of applicants, they have applied on their own and they receive a refusal from the state government stating that you have not completed your 6 months. So I would highly recommend everyone, before you apply, just check that you have completed minimum requirement of business operations. Otherwise, you may have to wait for another few months, and then you have to apply for the expression of interest. Additionally, you have to hire at least one employee who is an Australian permanent resident, citizen, or even a New Zealand citizen. You can hire either one employee for 20 hours per week, or you can hire 2 employees, 10 hours each, or you can mix and match and complete at least 20 hours per week. And that has to be for minimum 3 months before you apply your expression of interest. There is no like ranking system in small business owner category. So even if you have a 90 points or 65 points, you will be considered as an equal because once you lodge your expression of interest, you just need to notify the state government that you have applied your expression of interest under small business owner categories. And the invitation were very fast in this financial year. We have received invitation within 24 hours. So for someone who has a business background, or if they want to do some, they want to be an entrepreneur and not securing a job or struggling to get points or any XYZ reason, when they can see the hurdles in achieving the residency, for them, if you are living in any state, Queensland is one of the best options available through this category. Now, moving to the next state, which is one of the most popular state in last financial year, Western Australia. In Western Australia, mainly there are two criteria are there to apply for the expression of interest. First of all, they have a three type of actually occupation list, which is occupation in Schedule 1 list, occupation in Schedule 2, and the graduate occupation list. Now, if you are applying for 190 state nomination program, and if you have a 1 year of experience, you can apply through Schedule 1 occupation, and you must have a minimum 6 months of full-time employment contract from Western Australia-based employer. And if your occupation is in a Schedule 2 occupation, there is no minimum work experience requirement. Only thing is that you have a minimum 65 points meeting the criteria and apply for the expression of interest straight away. There are certain occupations where employment contract is also exempted for 190 criteria, but for 491, you don't require to have a work experience, or employment contract is not required. If you are a graduate, nothing to worry, just straight away apply through the graduate category. Now, how they rank the candidates? Again, if you are living in Western Australia, you will be getting the first priority in terms of receiving the invitation. And then if you're living offshore or any other state, then it will be the second. If you're working in a priority industries, let's say, for example, if you are an IT person and working in a healthcare related services, then in that case, your application will be considered on a priority basis. But if you're working in any normal sectors of any normal IT sector, then you might have to wait for your invitation. Moving forwards to point structure. So in last financial year, we have seen invitation from Western Australia with 95 or 100 points in a graduates category, and few invitations in a working category as well. But mostly invitation for a working category we have seen that was under the 491 visa program. So guys, if you are living in Western Australia, this is a very good opportunity, and Western Australia is one of the emerging popular destination in terms of IT graduates as well. So these three are the main state, where you can apply, Queensland, Western Australia. And further, I will forward to Mr. Girish, who is our senior migration agent, and he will guide you towards the other state nomination requirement.
Thank you very much, Dipen. After giving a detailed session regarding the three states, Queensland, Western Australia, and the Australian Capital Territory, thank you very much, Harry, for giving the detailed session from the beginning. Now, moving forward, we're going to talk about the Victoria State sponsorship and South Australia State sponsorship and the Tasmania State sponsorship requirement. As you know that in IT occupations, Victoria is giving a large number of invitations so far. Like Victoria is one of the state who's getting good numbers of quota so far since last year, 2022 to 2023, and then 2023 to till now. But most of their quota they are finishing in the beginning stage. They most of the time they're giving the invitation from the September, October, November, and December. Now, first of all, we talk about the requirement of the 190 Victoria State and the 491 Victoria State, and then I'll tell you how they pick up the applications. So when you talk about the 190 Victoria State requirement, if you are currently living in Victoria, uh, and if you're looking to apply for applications in onshore in Victoria State, so first of all, you must live in Victoria to apply for the 190 state sponsorship. If you are not living in Victoria, if you are in onshore, if you're not living in Victoria, you will not able to make an application, even though if you have lodged ROI, registration of interest, and if you have lodged express of interest, and if you are living, for example, in any other state, and if you're looking to apply for applications under the 190, and in case if you have received the invitation from the ROI, you will not able to get, you will not able to succeed the applications for the full skill assessment through Victoria State sponsorship. So how the Victoria State works, first of all, to be able to make an application, you're required to have minimum 65 points, and your occupation can be in any occupation list, doesn't matter, even though it can be in a short-term skill occupation list or medium and long-term studies skill occupation list. So even though if you're looking for applications and if you're living for any other state, and if you have lodged an application, so first Victoria give the pre-invitation and they give the 14 days to submit the relevant documents. So if you are living in any other states and if you're not providing the enough evidence to prove yourself to be living in Victoria, you will not get an invitation. But if you are living in Victoria and if you have received the invitation and then you provide the relevant documents in 14 days, you'll get the invitations. If you have registration, if you have been invited from the ROI itself. So Victoria has got 3 states: EOI, ROI, and then once you get the pre-invitation, then the state sponsorship. Now, when you talk about the Victoria in 190, in especially in IT occupation, Victoria giving the first priority to those who have the skill partner. So let's say if you got a 85 or 95, that is a minimum benchmark that they give the invitations of. And if you have a skills partner, so if you don't have a skill partner, you'll not get invited. Number one, along with the skills spouse, if you have been working in your occupations or in skill level 1 or 2, you would be giving the first priority. However, if you are working in skill level 3, you will be giving the priority, but not as much as what if you are working in skill level 1 or 2. So what I recommend you that if you are working in skill level 1, 2, then you will be giving the first priority, but make sure that you also have a skill partner if you are looking to get a priority. If you are single and if you have 85, 90 points, there would be chances, but again, they're giving the first priority those who have more than $110,000 worth of package in skill level 1 or 2. But if you don't have a skill partner, then they won't give you priorities. So in 2022, 2023, we have received the large number of applicants invitation. Even if you are single, even they were skills partner, they were giving the invitation because they had more than 12,000 quota. But when you talk about the 2023, 2024, they're giving the first priority those who have a skill partner plus skill level 1 or 2 job. Or even if you are single, you're required to have minimum more than $110,000 worth of package. That's the second thing. Third thing is make sure that if you do not have a superior English in Victoria, let's say if you're applying applications in Victoria, if you do not have the superior English, if you not have the superior English in IELTS or PT, then it's a very low chances that you would get invited. So if you're looking to get an invitation in IT occupation, especially, these are the 3 main requirements you should be followed. Number 1 is that superior English. Number 2 is a skill partner. Or if you are if you don't have a skill partner, if you are single, you should have at least $110,000 worth of package. Then you would have very high chances to get invited. Otherwise, you will not. Number 2, when you talk about the 491 state sponsorship, 491 means that if you are in Australia, you must, if you are in Australia, if you are in onshore in Australia itself, you must live plus work in skill level 1 or 2 or 3 jobs. When I talk about the skill level 1 or 2 or 3 job, that means you must be working in IT, accounting, engineering, or maybe trade occupation, or manager level occupation, or draft person level occupation, or technician level of occupations. If you are working any of those occupations, those occupation falls under level 1 or 2 or 3. If you are working, for example, as a machine operator, it will not falls under the skill level 1 or 2 or 3. If you are working a personal care assistant, it will not falls under the skill level 1 or 2 or 3. And again, you must be living in Victorian regional area. If you're not living in Victorian regional area, and if you have been invited through the ROI, and if you not provide the sufficient evidence for living in regional area, you would not be getting invited. So make sure when you apply for the 491 state sponsorship in Victoria, you must be living. So when you talk about the living, you can provide the statutory declaration or a lease agreement in case if you have in case if you are living in regional area of Victoria. On top of that, you're required to provide at least 2 utilities bill: gas, water, electricity, mobile bill or internet bill. At least you need to provide 2 utilities bills plus the driving license and the bank statement with the transaction in regional area. If you have those documents, you would be getting you would have very high chances that the Victoria will not be refused the application if you provide those documents. On top of that, make sure that if you claiming the experience point, or if you are claiming the skill level 1, 2 or 3 points, not points means if you are showing that you've been working in the skill level 1 or 2 or 3, and if you're not paid the superannuation in ATO, because they're asking you to provide the ATO certificate. If your employer not paid the superannuation in ATO, then you would not be getting an invitation in 491 in Victoria. So it's very much mandatory that you make sure that if you are living and working in Victoria regional area, ask your employer to pay the superannuation on timely manner. If you're not, then it's very high chances that they will refuse the applications. So these are the two things that make sure you are focusing on 190 Victoria in IT and 491. In IT occupations, very good chances where we can get invited in 190 and 491. Again, in 491, they're inviting those applicants who's got a 7 in each band. So if you not have the 7 in each band in Aussizz or equivalent PT in 7 in each band, then it's very less chances that you can get invited. Or if you're looking to get invitation under the with the 491 with 6 bands in each one in Aussizz, then again you should have the skill spouse. If you're a skill spouse and both got 6 in each competent English in Aussizz or PT, then yes, you would have very good chances to get invitation under subclass 491. But again, they're inviting with 7 each band in Aussizz or PT. Moving forward, we talk about the South Australia. When we talk about the South Australia, if you're looking for 190 state sponsorship, then obviously you must be living in South Australia, and you must be living for that at least for 12 months. Plus, you're required to have at least 6 months of nominated occupation field job for 30 hours per week. So let's say we talk about, for example, in IT occupation, software engineer. If you've been living in South Australia for 12 months at least, and if you're having a 6 months in software engineer job or related, closely related, or even if not closely, even minor occupation related occupation job, for example, even though if you talk about the first 3 digits are equivalent to the normal occupation, and if you're having a 6 months of job in those particular field, you can still get invitation in South Australia. Now, how South Australia work? You're required to submit the ROI, because the South Australia has got the very limited quota last year. They have refused a lot of applications because they had a very limited quota. They only invited limited applicants. Even though those who have studied over there, they have not received the invitation because of the quota. Hopefully they invite this year. The South Australia received more than 14,000 ROI so far, and they have, I would say, they have only invited around like 1,100 applicants so far. So it was very disappointing last year. Means the current financial year, it was really disappointing that we have received very less number of invitations. But I recommend you continue to work in your field for at least 6 months. And if you've not been working in your field for at least 6 months at the time of ROI invitation, then the South Australia will refuse the application. So continue to work in your field for at least 30 hours per week. If you are working less than 30 hours per week, then they may refuse the application. Secondly, if you have more than 4 weeks of unpaid leaves, or if you have a unpaid leave in your 6 months of period, then they may refuse the application. So guys, if you are working over there, make sure you should not have any unpaid leave. You should have the paid leave over there. And if you are in South Australian graduate, let's say if you have studied at least minimum a year of study in South Australia, that means that at least 12 months of study in South Australia, then you would be eligible to apply in applications with the 6 months of field full-time 30 hours per week job in South Australia in for 190 state sponsorship. pretty much they have the similar requirement for the 491 as well. If you are living in South Australia for 12 months and working in your field for at least 6 months, or close related or minor occupation related occupations, then obviously you would be getting an invitation under the subclass 491. But guys, if you think that you not been received the invitations, be patient. The South Australia will invite, and you have very high chances to get invitations. In South Australia and Victoria, they have the common things. In both applications, you have to apply for the ROI. And once you apply for the ROI, they will select you first, and they'll give you some time frame to submit the relevant documents, and then only you will be getting an invitation for the to apply for the permanent residence visa. Moving forward, we'll talk about the Tasmanian state sponsorship. Now, when you talk about the Tasmanian state sponsorship, under the subclass 190 in IT, first of all, I'll talk about the data. In last year, we have received very limited numbers of invitation in Tasmania. Tasmania is very good for the trade occupation, but not really good for the IT occupations. If you are, let's say, if you have studied over there for 2 years, then you would have a good chances to get invited, but make sure that if you have studied in University of Tasmania, then only you'll get invited. But if you have not studied in Tasmania, in University of Tasmania, then it's very, very less chances that you would be getting invited under the subclass 190. They may give the preference for the subclass 191. For the skill employment pathway, the IT occupation, they have put the caveat. So under the IT occupations, if you are living in Tasmania, if you are working over 6 months there, you would be eligible for different occupation. But for skill assessment pathway, skill employment pathway for Tasmania, you must be living there for 3 years and you must be working there for 3 years in IT occupation, then only you will be getting invited. So here we have not mentioned it, but I'll tell you about that in case if you not have a they put the caveat, if you not have 3 years of experience in Tasmania in IT occupations, then you would not be getting invitations. If you've been living for the 3 years, then obviously they'll give the 190 state sponsorship. Then you would be considered the one of the high priority occupations. Doesn't matter, because they give the priorities that they've been living over there for 3 years. For all Aussizz applicants, you must be having skill assessment in health-related occupations in a list, or you should have a job offer letter. Then only they'll give the priorities. For 491, if you have studied there for 1 year, and plus if you have an employment for at least 6 months part-time, or for a full-time for at least skill level 1 to 5, then they give the priorities. But again, they have the caveat in subclass 491 in IT. But again, like if you have studied over there, plus if you're showing the 6 months of job, then they will likely to give the 491 invitation in IT occupation. They'll not look the the caveat over there, but make sure that you studied over there. And if you show that you've been living over there for at least last 2 years, then you have very good chances that you may get invited under subclass 491. Tasmania also has got a kind of a small business ownership programs over there. If you've been operating the businesses over there for 12 months, then they give the priorities under the subclass 491. But again, there's no specific requirement that you must be invested this much amount of money. But again, if you're looking for the investment in franchisee business or convenience stores or ride share or food delivery or service station or petrol pump outlet, you would not be getting invitation. You require to have a big outlet like a grocery store, like a IGA, where at least 20 people are working over there. Then only you will be getting invited. But if you are talking about the small businesses, like a small service station there where 1 or 2 employees are there, then you would not be getting invitation. So they're giving the strict restriction on those particular businesses. But let's say if you have your own IT business that you've been operating yourself as self-employed, and if you're earning more than 80,000 by yourself, most of money that you're getting in your account, then you may have good chances to get invited. But again, you're required to run that business for 12 to 18 months. So these are the basic requirements that we talk about.
Thank you everyone for joining this session.